Okay, I am back for the second half of the TV season. First of all, yes, there's still no chat room. I'm sorry, I meant to get that taken care of, but I just didn't get around to it. I had other stuff going on. I promise I will try to get that fixed before the next stream. But, there's only one show to talk about this week, so it was probably going to be a quick one anyway. If you have any questions or comments that you want me to address, just tweet them to me. I'm at TheRealFK9. Just go ahead and tweet. Can I write that anywhere in here? I cannot. Alright, just tweet me your questions or comments if you have anything you want to say, and I'll be happy to help you out. Let's get started. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Mid-season premiere for Season 4, Episode 9, Broken Promises. Director Mace, Daisy, and Simmons go to rescue Senator Nadir's brother from her and figure out that she has ties to the Watchdogs. The brother chooses to not go with them and to side with the sister because he's kind of dumb, and then she kills him anyway. Meanwhile, Fitz and Radcliffe are ordered to shut Ada down, but Ada makes her play for the Darkhold, revealing that she has kind of grown beyond her programming. Yeah, which no one seemed to see coming, except Mac and Yo-Yo. I'll get to that in a second. Ada shuts down the base, she infiltrates it, and almost gets away with everything thanks to intel being fed to her by the LMD posing as May. But the day is saved when Fitz and Radcliffe corner her and Mac cuts her head off with his trusty shotgun axe. Really needs a name for that thing. Then it turns out that Radcliffe was secretly behind the whole thing. Now, he has another Ada bot, and this was all about him trying to acquire the Darkhold for himself. Because this team is never allowed to trust anybody, ever. First of all, the writer of this episode deserves a ton of props for how quotable this thing was. There were so many great lines here. I can't even list them all. It was literally like they saved all the best lines of the entire season for this one episode and then gave them all to Mac and Yo-Yo. The dialogue these two got here was priceless. Zinger after zinger after zinger after zinger. It was like these two existed for the sole purpose of pointing out the absurdity of how if the team had just bothered to watch like any science fiction movie ever made, this whole crisis could have been avoided. And in a lesser show, this would have only happened accidentally and without a drop of self-awareness, but not here. No. The writers knew exactly what they were doing here, planted their tongues firmly in their cheek, and did all of this intentionally. And the result was some of the funniest verbiage on any show I've seen this season. Haven't you chuckleheads seen any movies? The robots always rise up to destroy their human overlords. This is how Lawnmower Man ended. Someone needs to make Radcliffe watch all the Terminator movies. Even Salvation? Yeah, he brought this on himself. Mac and Yo-Yo were amazing in this episode. Please, God, give me more of these two. Because this was a fucking riot. Although, I would argue that T3 and Genesis may have been worse than Salvation. But, who are we kidding? The first two were the only good ones. But I feel so vindicated by this episode. Because ever since this season started, I've been yelling about this. Like, haven't these people seen Ex Machina? Or any other movie with robots ever? Making an artificially intelligent android is just asking for it to rise up against you, and this whole episode was about Mac and Yo-Yo just pointing out exactly that to everybody, and it was glorious. So on a personal level, I just dug the hell out of this. But it wasn't all just funny one-liners here. There was also some intelligent discussion going on with Fitz and Radcliffe, when it came to the subject of Ada and artificial intelligence. Technically, Ada is a machine, but if she's grown beyond her programming, if she's becoming self-aware and can feel emotions and stuff like that, does that not make her a person? When Mac cut her head off, would that be considered murder? Was she technically alive? At what point does she become alive? She wasn't technically a living, breathing thing, but she was doing all this because she didn't want to die, so it's a really difficult question to answer, actually. And I like that they didn't really put forth an answer. They just raised the question and let the audience think on it. And, no matter which side of the fence you come down on, I don't think it's ever going to be really black and white. And this was actually really thought-provoking stuff. It reminded me a lot of Battlestar Galactica. That show raised this question a lot. I'm thinking specifically of the episode that was the Pegasus one, the Pegasus two-parter, when Hilo and the Chief killed the Pegasus officer who tried to rape Sharon, and they got arrested. And they're like, but he was trying to rape a prisoner! But the Pegasus crew are all, bullshit, you can't rape a machine! Because they didn't consider the Cylons to be real people. Now, this didn't go as dark as BSG did, but it's in the same realm here. And it's a really difficult and complicated moral issue. More difficult than it was in BSG, because on that show it was pretty clear that the Cylons were people, and that the humans were the ones at fault there. But here, I think if you ask 10 people, you probably get 10 different answers. And I love when a TV show can take you to that place. That really makes you think. And whatever you may think about this show, they do not write it for idiots, that's for sure. And I love that they went to the place that I've been talking about for weeks. Ada turns against them because she was, I don't want to say corrupted by the Darkhold, because that's not right, but it's like the Darkhold gave her emotions. It allowed her to grow beyond her programming, and then suddenly she's flooded with all these emotions like fear and anger and betrayal all at once, and she doesn't know how to process it. And she kind of goes insane. It's not magic versus technology, technically. It's technology coming together with magic to create something even more twisted and perverse. And I love that kind of genre-bending stuff. This is cool shit. And I'm crossing my fingers that the other Ada bot gets her hands on the Darkhold at some point, so we can see what that leads to, because there are so many really cool possibilities for where that can go. The B-plot about Senator Nadir wasn't as interesting, but there was something that I very much appreciated about it. Smart villains. Good God, smart villains. Simmons goes undercover to get intelligence, and she's made by the bad guys pretty quickly. Not because she fucked up, but because the bad guys are really on the ball and don't get fooled very easily. That's all it takes. You don't need to have your heroes acting like fucking idiots just to advance the plot like they do constantly on that other show on Tuesday nights. It is entirely possible to have your characters act intelligently, make the right decisions, and still run into problems. That's what we get on S.H.I.E.L.D. Is it any wonder why I prefer this show to The Flash? I don't think so. But anyway, then we have the final big reveal at the end. Radcliffe was behind the whole thing. The whole Ada uprising, her Ada turning against them, it was all planned by Radcliffe. You know what? I was fooled. I didn't see it coming. Maybe that's because it's John Hannah, and I'm always going to associate him with the Mummy movies, where he played kind of an innocent, naive, unassuming comic relief guy. A little greedy, yeah, but a good person regardless. Or maybe they just did a good job of making Radcliffe not seem suspicious. He really did come off like a guy who had good intentions, whose creation just got away from him. But it was all an act, apparently. Really good swerve there. Maybe I shouldn't have fallen for it, because, hell, with the amount of times people they trusted have turned on them, you'd think this team would have learned by now to not trust fucking anybody. And I guess I should too. But I still fell for it. So, well done on that. This was a really entertaining episode. Tons of awesome lines, some really thought-provoking ideas and cool reveals. A really creepy performance from Mallory Jansen as Ada. Plus, it accelerated the narrative a lot more than I expected it to. We're not even halfway through the season here. I mean, they're only 9 episodes in. I believe they have 22. So we're not even at the halfway point. And this felt like something that would have taken place a lot later in the season, almost. So they really kind of stepped on the gas pedal there. Just a great mid-season premiere. Shield brought it with this one. And that was my thoughts on Shield. Once again, if you're watching right now, I'm sorry, the chat room is not working. I meant to get it working before tonight. I just didn't get around to it. So if you have any questions or comments, please tweet me. I'm at TheRealFK9. I'll wait. I'll wait a minute or two. You can just tweet me right now. Again, I'm sorry. I just didn't get around to it. I promise I will try to fix it before the Impact stream. Let's see. Okay, here we go. All right. When do you think Radcliffe turned heel? This is from Jacob Walton. When do you think Radcliffe turned heel? From the beginning or after he opened the Darkhold the first time? Honestly, I don't think he... I think he was always a heel, really. We met him in that episode last season when he was... We found out that he got kicked out of that company he worked for doing like really probably really questionable things and behaving kind of a shady way, or kind of pushing science to places that the company wasn't comfortable with. So I mean, he was obviously always he always had a temptation for going in that direction. So I don't think he was ever not a heel. He was just kind of he was trying to fool them. Trying to pull the wool over eyes. I think he always had intentions to continue in that vein. It's just when S.H.I.E.L.D. is watching your every move, you kind of have to mind your P's and Q's. So maybe he was trying to keep up the appearance of playing ball with them, but when the Darkhold showed up, it's like, whoa, I gotta see this. I think he just was keeping his cards close to the vest. So yeah, the Darkhold may have been provided the temptation, but I think he was. If it hadn't been that, it would have been something else. Do you think Ada will fall for Fitz and be in love with him like Ex Machina? Possibly. I kind of thought they might be going in that direction a little bit earlier in the season. It turned out to not be the case, but I think there's a potential for something like that. Fitz, very clearly did not, was not comfortable with the way Ada was dealt with. So I think he viewed her as a person. She had enough. I think she'd grown enough at that point to be considered a person in his eyes. So I think he was not happy about the way that ended. So. I think it could go both ways. I think Ada could develop a bit of a fascination with Fitz. I think she could possibly use that to get close to him somehow. Do I think there's a potential for a hookup there? No, that would be no. No, I think at this point Fitz is pretty much a eunuch to every woman on Earth not named Gemma Simmons, and now that to have him. To have him be tempted by Ada just would be completely against his character, and no, that wouldn't work. I think Ada may try to do something with that, though. I think could Ada develop a fascination for Fitz? Yeah, I think that's a possibility. Would Fitz reciprocate it? No, he wouldn't. Why are they keeping Agent Blake being the boss of the Watchdogs a secret reveal when we know he's the head of them? Um, could depend on Titus Welliver's availability. I think he's got his own show on Hulu or Amazon or something. So he may not be available, and it's possible that he may not have been the only person running the Watchdogs. It could have been him and Nadir and maybe other people too. We don't know. But yeah, I mean, Titus Welliver's a busy actor, so maybe they just didn't have access to him, so they came up with this. Um, Plus, even if the characters know it's Agent Blake running the Watchdogs in some capacity, they got no hard evidence. They got no proof. It's just their word, and they've gone public now, so they kind of need proof. Let's see. Small plot hole too. If Radcliffe was behind it the whole time, why not just take the data Ada read from the book and use that rather than trying to steal the book? Just a bit pick, but that kind of bothered me. I assumed it was because the magic may not be in the words, but in the book itself. So you could read the words written on the pages, and there's probably a lot of really illuminating stuff there. But I'm assuming that the book itself contains the magic, or maybe it's like two components, like the spells or whatever the hell is written on it, and then the book itself contains like necessary stuff to make all that work. That would explain that away. That's what I was assuming the whole time. So yeah. Once again, if you have questions or comments, please tweet them to me. I'm sorry the chat room is not working, but I'm fielding all this stuff from my Twitter page. I'm at TheRealFK9, so just tweet me and I'll get to all your stuff. Mac needs to let up on the androids. There are a lot of good ones too. Vision, Data, C-3PO, R2-D2. Also, BB-8, K2SO. Don't forget those guys. R.I.P. K2SO. You were taken from us too soon. But in Mac's defense, he said he always knew he was going to die by robot. He had... What was he talking about? He was joking about how he had a life insurance policy. If he gets killed by robots, his brother gets a huge settlement. Oh, so many great lines this week. Oh my god. Cool that LMD May doesn't know she's an android. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when the real May returns. I noticed that too. Yeah, that was I didn't expect that. I thought LMD May was in on the whole thing, but she doesn't know she's not real. She thinks she's the real May. I'm really excited to see what they do with that. Imagine if Coulson hooks up with it. And what if Coulson finds out that it's a robot before she does? What if he finds out she's a robot and it comes as this huge shock to both of them? Could you even imagine her reaction? I'm really excited to see how she reacts to finding out, because that could be some really cool stuff. Let's see. Strange that he would have sent Ada 1 to get the book and die. She could do the mystical stuff. Well, it's possible he only had the one model ready at the time. Let's see. Or she was the one that knew the stuff. She was the one who could potentially get the dark hold. She was the one who they might be expecting. I agree. That is a little bit weird. Yeah. Or maybe he can just download her memory into a new body. So the new Ada bot might remember everything that the old Ada did. We really don't know yet. We need more information on that. I'm also expecting Patton Oswalt to return in the LMD series. Me too. They did mention the Koenigs. they got a mention in the mid-season finale when Daisy got her lanyard. It's like, oh, the Koenigs should be here. The lanyards were his thing. So I am expecting the Koenigs to make a reappearance because they were setting up something LMD related with the Koenigs. It was as far back as the season 1 finale. So yeah, I definitely think we'll be seeing Patton Oswalt pretty soon. Let's. What are the odds this arc that the real May dies and LMD May takes her place on the team? Pretty long odds, I think. I don't think they do that. I wouldn't put it past them, but I'm not sure what could be gained from that, really. Um, now I'll grant you this: I do expect May will die at some point, because this show is this this show is when you get right down to it, the show is about Daisy. I think it's pretty obvious that uh, the big picture arc for the season is about Daisy joining Shield and then moving up the ranks and becoming an agent and then finally ending up as the director of Shield. Because in the comics, Quake was the director of Shield for a while. I think that's what they're building up to, and if the show gets to finish the story the way it wants to, I think that's how the show will end. Will be with Coulson handing over the keys to Daisy. Now, in order for that to really fit, in order for it to make sense, Daisy's mentor figure's got to go. That's just a kind of a rite of passage thing. Now, May is her mentor. May's the one who taught her how to be an agent and how to be a field agent, how to fight and all that stuff. She's the one that Daisy looks up to, arguably the most. She's the one who's kind of become the surrogate mother. So if Daisy is going to end up as the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. at the end of the show, May's got to go at some point. I'd say arguably Coulson too, but they're not going to kill Coulson again. So yeah, I am expecting May is going to have to go at some point. I don't think they would do it like this. And if they were going to kill her, I don't think they'd replace her with an LMD. Because again, like what's to be gained aside from keeping Ming-Na Wen around? Plus, I think it would just kind of cheapen May's death if they did that. It's like you kill her and then you bring her right back. It's like, well, why even bother killing her? Thoughts on Riverdale? I assume you mean Riverdale. Oh yeah, that subversive take on the Archie comics. Wow. I'd say I would say that this show has completely missed the point, but I think that is the point. I read Archie comics as a kid. I still have some of them somewhere. I have a bunch of those like collections that have like a whole bunch of the comics like all like in one volume. And I got a kick out of them as a little kid. And here it's like, well, it's they're doing the gritty Hollywood reboot thing with Archie comics, and it's like, oh wow, there's murder, and there's a taboo relationship with Miss Grundy, who's young and hot now, and it's like, what? Oh wow, it's just, I don't know whether to feel like my childhood is being raped or just be morbidly fascinated. I think I'll probably check out like the first episode just to see what happens here, but this, I don't know, this might be a little too different. This might be pushing it too much. Is it wrong that I like Senator Nadir? Villains who think what they are doing is right and are not trying to be evil are the best. Oh yeah, that's really interesting. Um, I think those are the best kinds of villains because they're not ones that you can easily vilify. You know, if they like believe that they're on the path of the righteous and that they're doing the right thing, that makes everything a lot more complicated. And I think that's a hallmark of good writing right there. Also, something I appreciated is that they're her and her brother. I was gonna say Indian American, but they're not Americans. I think she's like British or something, but they're Indian of Indian descent, and they're not being stereotyped in any way. You know, she's a senator. Cool. She's a senator who happens to be Indian. I like that, and we need more stuff like that in TV. Have you talked about the Slingshot special before? If not, what were your thoughts on it? If you have, I'll check it out. I saw it. Um, you should check it out anyway. It's pretty short. They're like a couple 6-minute episodes. It was cool. It's less than the span. It's less time than one episode, so it won't take you very long. I enjoyed it. It was cool seeing a focus on Yo-Yo. There wasn't a whole lot to it. She goes off the books to settle an old score. With this guy who I think was responsible for her brother's death or something like that. And she finds him, and she takes care of him. She takes care of the situation, and that's about it. It's all pretty straightforward, but it is interesting, and it gives you a little bit of insight into how the Daisy Yo-Yo relationship, working relationship, was formed that we saw earlier in the season. Because early in the season, they were kind of meeting together off base, and Yo-Yo was helping Daisy out, helping steal the bone restoration pills for her so she could continue doing her Quake thing. It's not really required viewing, but it does provide extra context for story bits that we had in the first half of the season. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Yeah, just go check it out. It won't take you a long time. It's always nice to have a little extra, story bits and stuff. It was good. Again, it's not like a huge budget thing. It's just a digital series, but I've seen much worse digital series. This is actually one of the better ones I've seen. Because usually those things are like complete throwaways, but not this. Okay. Once again, I couldn't get the chat room working in time, so please, if you have any questions or comments, please just tweet them to me. I'm at the real FK9, and I'm addressing everything. So just go ahead and tweet me. Did you see the Defenders promo and behind the scenes pictures that came out today? Yes, I did. Nothing very spoilery. It's basically just like promo material to show people that, hey, the show is coming. But it's something. It's the first real media we've gotten for the Defenders since that teaser announcement trailer that revealed absolutely nothing. So it's good. I can't wait to see it. The only thing that bugs me about it is that we're delaying Daredevil season 3 because they have to film the Defenders first. But I'm excited, man. I've made no secret about my growing impatience with the DC shows and their just, man, the crossovers are they're getting more and more frequent and less relevant in my eyes. And like the big heroes versus aliens thing was just a complete clusterfuck and just terribly written. So I'm really looking forward to the Defenders, to Marvel showing DC how it's fucking done. I 100% expect that's what's going to happen. So I'm fucking excited for the Defenders, man. What do you think of Star Wars Rogue One? I liked it. There were a couple issues. I think it was. 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 it's no secret that the movie had extensive reshoots done, and I really want to see I really want to see the director's cut, because reportedly there is a very, very different cut of the film out there that radically changed a lot of details, and you could see it in the trailer. There was a lot of stuff in the trailer that was not in the final movie. Specifically that big, like the really infamous shot from the trailer where Jin is walking toward the walking down off that balcony, and then the TIE fighter comes right up and just she's facing right into it. Wasn't in the movie. I wanted to see that shot, damn it. But yeah, so the reshoots obviously changed a lot of stuff, and there's still you can kind of tell how certain scenes just feel weirdly out of place, like the whole mind control squid thing. It's like it's in one scene, and it's supposed to like wipe that dude's memory, and then he seems like disoriented and confused the next time we see him, but then he snaps out of it, and it's not a problem after that. So just there's some weird stuff like that where it's like the previous version of the movie and the new version are kind of battling it out, and some things didn't really transition quite as well as other things did. But there was a lot to like about a lot of it too. The cast is really cool. Donnie Yen was awesome, man. He had some amazing action sequences. Like the fucking third act, Jesus Christ, that was probably the best space battle in any of the Star Wars movies. The Vader stuff, the Vader stuff was awesome. I loved seeing. There's gonna be spoiler. I'm gonna spoil the hell out of Rogue One here, guys. Just FYI, I should have said that before, but. There are two characters who appear as CGI creations, two famous characters from the original trilogy. The CGI, it's noticeable. I didn't think it was awful because I wasn't really looking for it, but it's the CGI is noticeable. It is impressive though. Probably the best the best we're gonna get at this point, even if we are in Uncanny Valley territory. But it's I don't know. I guess it depends on how critical you are about that type of stuff. What the hell else? Good comedy. K2SO was hilarious. What else can I say about it? Some of the characters I could have used more of. I mean, they've got a fun cast of characters here, but a lot of them aren't really explored. It's mostly like Jin and Cassian's movie. The others do get featured, but I wanted a little more development with them. Again, this is probably one of those things that got changed in the reshoots. But it's a really ballsy way to end. Okay, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, I'm going to spoil the ending of Rogue One here, okay? Spoiler alert. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everybody dies. The whole cast gets killed in their efforts to steal the Death Star plans, okay? That took some fucking guts. Of course, if this is not part of a trilogy, it's just a one-off, so they can actually do stuff like that. I guess that's one of the benefits of doing these anthology Star Wars films, is that you can actually get really gutsy and visceral with that type of stuff. So we might want to expect more stuff like that. So overall, I liked it. I did have a few issues. I kind of wish they could have ironed out the script issues a little sooner, so they didn't have to go back and like reshoot the hell out of it and then cut and paste everything together, because it is a little bit disjointed, and there are certain scenes that don't really mesh with everything else, and the characters aren't explored as much as I'd like. But despite that, I really did like the movie. There's some pretty awesome action, and the third act is fucking aces, man. So yeah, I give thumbs up for Rogue One. It's not a perfect movie, but Christ, compared to the prequels, It's a pretty fucking huge step up. Yeah. Alrighty. Are you following What Culture WWE? If so, which guy is your favorite example? Blimpy, King Ross, Jack the Jobber. I am not following What Culture WWE. I subscribe to What Culture on YouTube, but What Culture WWE? No. No. Let's see. Thoughts on Legion? I don't really have any. I haven't really been following it. Um, Legion isn't really a character that ever interested me that much in the comics, and I don't even know where this fits in with where it fits into continuity, or even if it fits into continuity. Is this the same continuity as the X-Men movies? Is it from the original trilogy, or the First Class trilogy, or is it something that exists on its own? I don't know. It looks like they're taking a lot of liberties with it, but I don't know. It could be good, I guess. I really do like what's her face. I forgot her name escapes me. The girl from Parks and Rec. She's in that. She's in the show, so that's good. I'll probably check it out at some point. But it's not really something I'm chomping at the bit to see, because it's X-Men, so it's Fox handling this. So I don't know how much involvement, if any, that Marvel has, and that's what concerns me. Let's see. I really like the actress that plays Ada. Yeah, she's really good. I hope they find a way to keep her around after this season. Potentially. She's playing, LMDs, so I guess they could always just make another one. I don't see why they couldn't. I mean, there's supposedly like what 13 Koenigs out there somewhere. So yeah, they could have lots of backup models for Ada. They could just destroy all the corrupted ones, and maybe leave some of the other ones around. Who knows? That would be nice, because she is really creepy in this role. I like her a lot. And that's all the questions from Twitter you guys have. If you have anything else, any other questions or comments or anything, just tweet me at TheRealFK9. And I'm just looking at my timeline right here. Man, I don't know what Anthem is thinking with that logo for Impact. Why do they have to put the fucking owl in there? For a pro wrestling show? You put a fucking owl in the logo? Why? Okay, I get it. You want everyone to know that Anthem owns Impact now, but you already got the name under Impact Wrestling. Did you have to put the owl in there too? It just looks so gaudy and out of place. I thought they would at least keep Jin Urso alive, so the possibility of her being Ray's mother would still be on the table. I heard about that fan theory that Jin was Ray's mother. I never really bought into it. I can understand wanting to see that, but I never really thought they were going to go there. I'm holding out hope that that Rey is the daughter of Luke and Mara Jade. And yeah, Mara Jade is from the expanded universe novels, which have now been rendered not canon. But they've incorporated characters from the books before. They've I believe Saw Gerrera from Rogue One was first introduced in the Clone Wars TV show. Of course, those are already canon. What's an example? Oh, Admiral Thrawn from the books. They introduced him in the Star Wars Rebels show, and the Star Wars Rebels show is official canon. So we know that Admiral Thrawn exists out there somewhere. I don't know if he's dying in the TV show, but he exists in this universe. He is canon. So they could take Mara Jade out of the books and put it in and say that she was Rey's mother. Because I really want Rey to be a Skywalker. Because that's what makes the most thematic sense, is to have her be Luke's daughter. And if Luke had a kid with anyone, I want it to be Mara Jade. goddammit. So we'll see. Although, I do understand people wanting to see wanting it to be Jin. Yeah, I get that. On the other hand, I really did like the ending of the whole team getting killed, even though it was kind of a downer. It was such a gutsy way to go. I think it made sense for them all to die. And although it's not recognized in the movie, but apparently Jin may have been force sensitive, because apparently her mother was a Jedi who survived Order 66. That crystal necklace that she gave Jin, that was a Kyber crystal that the Jedi use as like focusing crystals for the lightsabers. I read that somewhere. So Jin's mother was a former Jedi, and so that would mean that Jin may have been force sensitive. It was just never acknowledged in the show, in the movie. Let's see. How awesome is it that Ruth Negga starts out with a role as Reyna, and now it's possible of her getting nominated for an Oscar this year? That's really fucking cool. I love that she was kind of discovered on S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm sure she did other stuff before that, but that was the first thing I ever saw her in. And now, she nominated for a Golden Globe. She didn't win it, but she was there, and she was in the category. And now maybe nominated for an Oscar. I think that's cool as hell. I saw her on the cover of Vogue the other day. That's just really nuts. That's really neat. That's a feather in S.H.I.E.L.D.'s cap. They can say that they discovered Ruth Negga. That's really cool. Okay. Alrighty. Well, I'll give it another minute, but it looks like we're about done here. So, once again, if you have any questions or comments, tweet me at TheRealFK9, and I'll answer them. And I will do my best to get the chat room situation sorted out tomorrow or Saturday before the stream. Sorry I couldn't do it this week. I just I didn't get around to it. I had other stuff going on. Okay. Okay, well, it looks like that's about it for tonight. And nope, we got another one. Are you gonna check out The Resurrection of Gavin Stone? Wasn't planning on it. Honestly, I had a really bad experience with the WWE Studios films. My first exposure to a WWE Studios film was Inside Out. I actually did a video a while back about that. I was at the movie theater just seeing what was playing, and a guy asked me if I wanted to see a free screening, like an early preview screening of an unfinished cut of Inside Out starring Triple H. And the video's on my channel. It's I reviewed the movie. Let's look for the video titled "Hey Triple H, Your Movie Sucks." And that was it was an early cut of the movie. Wasn't finished yet, but wow, that was not a good movie. That was a bad movie. And to this day, I have no desire to ever see another WWE Studios film. The only thing that might pique my interest is the fact that Brett Dalton is in it, and he was pretty much the best villain that Shield has ever had on that show. So he's in that movie now. So I briefly considered maybe a check it out just to support Brett Dalton, but it's not something that I have a burning desire to see. Because it's like it's a WWE Studios film. I mean, how good could it possibly be? Really, I feel bad saying that, but quality films are not really something they're known for. I don't know. Maybe Brett Dalton can save the movie. Who knows? So yeah, that's about it. I think, yeah. All right. So I guess that's where we'll stop for tonight. Once again, sorry for not having the chat room ready. I didn't get around to it. I'm gonna try to figure that deal out tonight or tomorrow, and then hopefully everything will be back. We'll be back to normal when we do the Impact stream on Saturday. So thanks everybody for joining me. Yeah, I think it's just Shield again next week, and then the week after that, Flash and Arrow are back. Oh, wow. So I still have 2 more weeks before I have to talk about the Flash again. I'm going to savor this. Alright, so thanks for joining me, guys. And I will talk to you on Saturday. Later.